Yes, there are various options that countries can elect to respond to the unfair tariffs that have been leveled against, I would say, the world. A number of countries have sought to engage in negotiations with the US government, and some of those have been fairly large economies that are currently in negotiations with the United States. And we have chosen the route of engaging the United States. They said that they have a deficit, but we argue that they don't have a deficit, and that requires that we should actually sit down and negotiate these issues. And in sitting down, we've come to the conclusion that we will find good answers to be able to take matters forward. The issue, as I said earlier, of the strength and the endowments that we have, which is critical minerals, is a matter that is firmly on the table as we are having these engagements now with the United States. And we have been, yes, exporting these to them on a tariff-free basis, whilst they had offered us a tariff-free entry through the AGOA offering or process. So therefore, in order to gain the advantage that we need for our own country, we are utilizing precisely this aspect of what they need most. In the end, we are saying we need to balance the books. What do they need most from us is what we put on the table for them to consider. And what do we need most from them? And in balancing these two issues, we then believe that we will be able to come up with a fairly well-balanced negotiation that goes beyond just what they are focusing on, imposition of a 30% tariff regime on us. We go to the United States negotiating table with a strong hand. We don't go with a weak hand. And our endowments, as you correctly say, is exactly what we take to the table. And the ability on our part to have those products processed here. But we obviously, in doing so, want to take it a step further. And we want to be able, and that's what we are insisting on, that even as we may well want to export the critical minerals, we want them to leave the shores of South Africa as finished products so that we beneficiate what we will finally sell to them. So that is the type of discussion that we are having with them, a proper engagement of two sovereign powers that are engaging for a fair deal outcome. And that is how we are proceeding with this. Now, our people who are in the United States now are fully fired up with this type of approach, and the Minister of Trade and Industry and International Relations will be joining them, and they will be advancing those discussions. We are on the ground, and we are working the ground in the United States as we speak now. In many ways, the National Convention reflected the broad and vibrant diversity of our society. Whether people like it or not, that was the reality that was represented at the National Dialogue, at the convention rather. The first convention was a great success by any country, where delegates endorsed the need for the value of a national dialogue. The convention agreed on key themes for the national dialogue, understanding that citizens will be able to raise any issues that they want. The 9 broad themes that were identified were building a dynamic, inclusive economy that will create jobs and improve livelihoods, tackling crime and corruption, winning the future through education and a healthy nation, fixing the state and making the constitution work for our people, building South African values, culture, and strengthening our social fabric, advancing gender equality and ending gender-based violence and femicide, dealing with intergenerational trauma and healing, promoting environmental justice, advancing land and mineral rights. Now, delegates to the first National Convention expressed their support for a representative steering committee to drive the national dialogue process. Now, over the next 3 weeks, organizations involved in the 32 identified sectors have been meeting amongst themselves to nominate their own representatives to the steering committee. Now, these nominations will now be compiled and collated by the eminent persons group to ensure inclusivity and representativity before the steering committee is constituted. As I am no longer involved in the whole process of the national dialogue, I'm told that one of the key principles that the National Dialogue Steering Committee will seek to adhere to is inclusivity, to make sure that as many organizations as possible at grassroots level, the rural areas and the urban areas, that will be organized according to sectors, do participate. And already I'm told that those sectors are meeting as we speak. They are finalizing as sectors their own representatives, be it in the sporting fraternity and even its subsectors. It could be rugby, it could be football, it could be tennis, it could be whatever, and various others. Could be traditional leaders, it could be all other sectors. It could be medical, it could be legal. They will all be meeting right now and identifying those who can be selected to come onto the steering committee. I do believe that it might well be a fairly large steering committee that will seek to be representative of the people of South Africa, of various sectors to which our people coalesce around. So the fear that others will be excluded should really be waylaid, because in the end, we want this dialogue process to be as inclusive as possible, and it must be people-driven. It must be driven right from the grassroots level. And people must be able to speak out their own minds. And as we have held these meetings, we've taken them to places that showcase our country as well. And that has brought tourism in and will also bring future tourism. So the benefits can be multiplied in many ways. To say this will be the one thing that everyone will benefit from would be false on my part, but it's general benefit, and it's a good opportunity that we have. It's an opportunity that may only befall us or come to us possibly 20 years again from now. So we need to make good use of this opportunity that we have, being the first African country to be a G20 president and being in a very good position, having inherited the position from Brazil, a global South country, and handing over to the United States, a northern country which is a superpower and the biggest economy in the world. So we are well positioned, and I do believe that that gives us clout, that gives us an opportunity to be able to mobilize a number of things that can benefit our country.